We're going to start the meeting. We'll open it with a moment of prayer, followed by the flag. Thank you. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Any public comment on agenda items only? Seeing none, move on to old business. Approve the minutes of the 4/16/2025 Commissioners meeting. Second. Favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries. Acknowledge opening the bids for sale of vehicles received April 29th, 2025, with bids to be awarded May 21st of 2025 of the following. It was a total of $26,609.60. This was an online auction of vehicles that were received by the District Attorney's Office. We do give a 10-day window for people to retract their bids should they not want to purchase them, and then they will be paying the treasurer. Proclamations and certificates. The Pocono Interfaith Council Day of Prayer was May 1st. Mental Health Awareness Month is of May 2025, May of this year. ESU College of Education, the 25th anniversary, and Chestnut Hill Emergency Services facility dedication happened the other week. Is there a motion, please?
Moved.
Is there a second? Second. Dominique and Tiffany? Hammer got you the whole way. Whereas mental health is a key component to every individual's overall physical health and emotional well-being. And whereas mental illness affects people of all ages, races, ethnicities, and income levels, and where only 50% of individuals with a serious form of mental illness seek treatment because of feelings of personal shame, social stigma, and discrimination, which may prevent many with mental illness from seeking help. And whereas untreated mental illness leads to higher rates of emergency department visits, hospitalizations, school dropouts, and suicides. And whereas general public awareness about mental illness can positively transform attitudes about and towards people with mental illness, making it easier for citizens to seek help. Now, therefore, be resolved that the Board of Commissioners of Monroe County do hereby proclaim the month of May 2025 as Mental Health Awareness and raise public awareness and understanding of mental health, available resources within the community, and to reduce the stigma faced by people with mental illness. We are privileged to have two advocates for people in need, and I'd like to say thank you very much. We've worked together for quite a while now, and the services that they provide are definitely warranted, and I appreciate the calling that you guys display and what you do.
Thank you.
So that.
Highlights the need for mental health awareness and why we do what we do. We hope that we can continue to make a community aware, provide supports, resources, and just make an overall mental health aware community that we all need.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
Take care. New business, personnel. Approve the personnel agenda and approve and ratify requests to work additional hours in the Sheriff's Department and tax claim. Is there a motion, please?
Second.
Any questions? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries. Electronic financial transactions. We have vouchers payables through 4 pay periods there, gross payroll, healthcare. To everybody, is there a motion, please?
So moved.
Any questions? All in favor signify by saying aye. Motion carries. Travel authorization, approve and ratify. Approve, ratify the travel request reported to adult probation, area agency on agency, emergency services, grants, juvenile probation, planning, and pretrial services. Is there a motion, please?
Second.
Excellent. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Carbon Monroe Pike Drug and Alcohol Commission, execute professional services agreement for CMP case management services in the amount of $69,590 for the period of 4/1 of 2025 to 12/31 of 2025. Ratify agreement number 1 for grant agreement number 4100086599 to extend the term of the agreement of December 31st, 2025. And appoint Lisa Butts to the Board of Directors for a 3-year term from 5/1 of 25 through 4/30 of 28. Is there a motion, please?
So moved.
Any questions? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries. Children and Youth Services, approve the subsidy agreement for permanent legal custodians for the following, MW, HI, and HF, and approve an adoption assistant agreement for RO. Is there a motion, please?
Second.
Any questions? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Ratify budget adjustment report dated 5/7/2025 totaling $36,203. That is for cameras for domestic, in the domestic relations area of the new courthouse. Approve the budget adjustment report dated 5/7 of 2025 totaling $520,762. That report constitutes 3.4% or $17,669 to current expenses on increased state revenue for aging. Children and youth, $440,000 or 85% for current and future expenditures. And corrections, $50,000 or 9.6% for propane gas. We're moving money from the oil line to propane gas for that. Also, ratify authorization for the chief clerk to advertise ordinance of issuance of the county debt. Approve ordinance 2025-01, authorizing and directing the assurance of general obligation debt, the maximum principal amount of $13 million pursuant to the Local Government Unit Debt Act. Thank you.
A little different.
Just,
A couple zeros.
yeah, I know that there will be people here that more than help correct me. Ratify change order number 3 to the South Shore Construction LLC in the amount of $21,750 for additional traffic stop coating on the helix for a new contract total of $663,890. Ratify network agreement with Geisinger Health Plan through Cigna Healthcare Network, and approve and ratify the following to be paid from the opioid settlement funds spent consistent with the uses allowed under opioid settlement agreement Exhibit E. Ratify purchase of a vehicle for Letty program from Enterprise Fleet Management in the amount of $47,217.83 from the opioid settlement funds. Approve opioid grant to Recovery Revolution in the amount of $16,851.90 paid from the opioid settlement fund. Execute a memorandum of understanding and agreement with Neamos Sober Living in the amount of $10,000 for opioid settlement funds, and execute a memorandum of understanding and agreement with Northbound for the amount of $55,000 from the opioid settlement funds. Approve change order number 1 with Ryland Construction Company in the amount of $6,575 for additional spall repair, barrier opening, joint repair, and county barrier return to OEM. Final contract amount is $134,030. And approve the use of Courthouse Square sidewalks, parking deck entrance lot, sheriff's lot by Pocono Pride Coalition on January 1st of June 1st of 2025 for Pocono Pride Festival, and approve the hanging of the American and Pride flags over the garage door for parking deck on May 31st and June 1st by the Pocono Pride Coalition for Pocono Pride Festival, and approve a service agreement with Compressions from the Heart LLC for CPR, first aid, and bloodborne pathogens training in the amount of $1,302. And add the following vendors to the county list of approved vendors. In planning, we have Wilson's Products Compressed Gas. In information technologies, we have HD Communications and Kelly Morga. And Veterans Affairs, Starscreen Graphics LLC.
I'd like to make a motion to approve number 6, A through I, and K through L.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. That leaves J, approve the hanging of the American Pride flags over the garage door on the parking deck on May 30th, 31st, and June 1st by the Pocono Pride Coalition for Pocono Pride Festival.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, I will second that. And the reason being I'll second that is that we are allowing any other kind of banners or information flown at the other areas. It's just not that flag in this area. So without having a policy in place, I feel that we have to allow it.
I do too. The right thing to do.
I believe the administration building is the people of Monroe County's building. We serve a broad range of constituents with many different beliefs. So I think we should avoid putting it on the administrative building of the county.
Okay, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
So noted. Court administrations. Execute agreement with Thomson Reuters for the patron self-help portal in the law library at a cost of $1,412.60 per month for the period of 8/1/2025 through 7/31/2026. Is there a motion, please?
Second.
Fiscal grants approve. I'm sorry, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Fiscal grants approve the EFSB 2025 subrecipient allocations as follows. You can see Shepherd's Maternity House, Joe's Outreach, Meals on Wheels, Pocono Area Transitional Housing, Pocono Services for Families and Children, Resources for Human Development, the Wesleyan Church, Salvation Army, Metamorphosis, and Safe Monroe. And in Pike County, we have Joe's Outreach, Holy Trinity Food Pantry, and Bushkill Outreach. You can see the total for Pike County is $21,518.84, and Monroe County, $86,126.84. Also, to execute ESG 2024-26 subrecipient contracts in the amount of $279,125 as indicated below. For emergency shelter, Family Promise, also the Wesleyan Church, Stroudsburg Wesleyan Church, and Safe Monroe. For homeless prevention, Family Promise. For rapid rehousing, Family Promise, and Pocono Area Transitional Housing and Street Outreach, RHD, or Resources for Human Development, totaling $279,125. C, approved 2024 medical assistance transportation, MATP, third quarter, in the amount of $151,002.72, and ratify submission of the 2024 Indigent Defense Grant Program number 44150, modification for the amount of $99,098 due to increased grant award.
Second.
Is there a second? Are there any questions? I'd like to point out that we have members of the Transit Authority here today and for their one of the many things that they do is take care of medical assistance transportation. And I know it is not an easy job, but it is a vital job, and I thank you for the work that you do. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Information Technology and Services, execute web service program service agreement with County Commissioners Association of Pennsylvania, AKA CCAP, for the period of 8/7 of 2025 through 5/6 of 2028 in the amount of $11,500 per year. Ratify the agreement with Smartsheet for the period of 4/20 of 25 through 4/20/26, totaling $1,584, and approve the maintenance and technical support services at MCCF with Odin Technologies for the period of 4/10/25 through 4/10 of 2026 in the amount of $24,000. Is there a motion, please?
So moved.
Are there any questions?
Yeah, for C, that includes hardware too, right? Or is that just?
That is just maintenance and technical support.
The technical support.
Just-
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, okay.
If you go back, you.
We did it. We already did that.
Paid for the.
Yeah.
$50,000, I'm sorry,
Yeah, I knew we
quite
were.
a bit of money for the other
Right.
ones.
Yes.
Oh, we'll do that in coming up shortly. Okay. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Office of Emergency Management, ratify submittal of the Emergency Management Performance Grant, EMPG 2025-04177080 in the amount of $207,154. EMPG is $103,577. Total match is $103,577 for the period of October 1st, 2025 through September 30th of 2026. Is there a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Any questions? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. The Transportation Authority adopt resolution of local match for state operating financial assistance in the amount of $241,074 for 2025 through 2026. Is there a motion, please?
So moved. Do you have
Go
it,
ahead.
David? David has it.
Right.
Second.
Second. Are there any questions? Should we ask our learned members what we're going to do with that money? Or what does it help support?
So the funds actually match $5.2 million worth of grants that we get from the federal and state government to run our system. So that'll basically help us to provide, fuel, wages, parts, and all the other things that go into running the buses on a daily basis.
Excellent. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Capital purchase, approve the capital purchase report dated 5/7 of 2025 totaling $6,446.03. That money goes to the district attorney, conference room chairs, and Vector for a backpack sprayer. The backpack sprayer is $799.99 from Steele's Hardware, and the chairs are $5,646.04 from Office Services. Please.
So that's $564 per chair.
Yes. They're conference chairs. They have to be oversized because of carrying guns, and that is the standard cost of conference chairs. And yes,
Per chair.
exactly.
I'm asking too, because I know in the past, judges' robes
Yeah.
were over like $800. And then there was another time there was a chair purchased for like $500. And it just seems very expensive.
Now that's the state contract for chairs. In other words, it's the lowest price we can get for those chairs because we're getting them on state contract. Let's see. Is there a motion for the capital purchases?
I'll second it.
Any questions? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye, motion carries. Computer capital. Ratify the computer purchases, report date 5/7 of 2025 totaling $49,950. That $49,550 is for the correctional facilities cameras that we're replacing. And approve the computer purchase, report date of 5/7/2025 totaling $46,814.49. That is for the court's 2 laptop bundles for new hires, computer refresh of 35 laptops and docking stations, and for the district attorney, 1 laptop bundle for a new hire detective through the STOP grant. Is there a motion, please?
So moved.
Is there a second? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Mr. Parker, do you have anything?
Don't.
Sharon?
Not today.
I'd like to go back to the Commissioner's office and they approve the ordinance of 2025-01, authorizing the direct insurance, general obligation of debt in the maximum period for $13 million pursuant to Local Government Unit Debt Act. The county is looking forward to taking out a bond issue for, I want to say $10 million. And we have to go through this program or process to do so. One of the things that we are looking, we have a number of projects coming up in the near future. We have Dave Payne here, our illustrious bond person, to help us through this. One of the things that we're looking at is that we have, Bob, we have repairs of the deck here that we have coming up in the near future. Additional, we have
Correctional,
correct
correctional facility.
the correctional facility. We have to put in a new well. And we have a water tower to put there, and we have a sewage treatment plant that has to be redone at the old Pleasant Valley Manor, which provides sewage services for both the old PVM, Hamilton Manor, and the correctional facility. We have,
To reimburse us from some of the expenses that we used out of the general fund in the last 8 months.
right.
So we reimburse ourselves for that money, to put that money back in the general.
In other words, we've spent over, like we paid North Shore here for a contract of $663,000 for the work in the Helix. We're able to take that money and put that into the bond, so that money goes back into the general fund. We also need new water tower at the correctional facility. So what we're trying to do is take care of a number of our infrastructure problems that have been looming.
And stuff that was on Leather Branch.
Correct. And we also have 2 dams. If you didn't know the county owned dams, I'm sorry, Laura, I didn't see you there. We also have our Learner Council here also. I'm flanked by a lot of lawyers. Yes, Teresa.
So this bond, did you do an RFP on this or are you just doing it?
Dave will explain the process, if he doesn't mind.
Sure. David Payne from PNC Capital Markets. This is a bond issue for $10 million. We've been a bond underwriter for the county for over 25 years under the Unit Debt Act and Pennsylvania law. You're able to negotiate with an underwriter, provided that you've been pleased with the results in your past underwritings rather than go through an RFP process. And in this instance, the county decided to maintain the underwriter and also bond counsel Laura Kurtz from Ecker Siemens.
I think it's more about the
What is the?
process for the rates
Sure,
when you
sure.
go market on that.
Sure. In about 45 days, you will be ready to go to market to price the bonds. During that 45-day period, we're going to put together the county's official statement, which is the story of the county, past, present, and future, and what the bond funds will be utilized for. Once that official statement is in draft form, that is forwarded to the rating agency, Standard & Poor's, who recently rated the county at AA stable, which is a very strong rating in the state of Pennsylvania. They'll review that rating again. It's only been about 6 months since that last review. But with every new issuance, you have to go back to the rating agencies and say, hey, listen, we're thinking about doing some more capital. This is the structure. This is what we'd like to borrow. Laura can, in a minute, explain the essence of the law for the parameters procedure. The reason why it says 13 million max, and you're only borrowing $10 million is because we're going to get pre-approval from DCED in Pennsylvania for the borrowing and for our bond pricing desk. That requires that we have some flexible maturities for each one of the series of bonds. So we have to put in a maximum amount that gives us that flexibility in each year. That totals $13 million. Rest assured, the county will not borrow one penny more than $10 million, and they might borrow less than $10 million. But the $13 million figure is purely for filing and pre-approval reasons with DCED. You have numbers in front of you which show that the actual estimated par amount of the bond could be something short of $10 million, about $9.46 million, with a bond premium of $673,000, with bond investors will forward to the county to help structure and pay for the bond issuance. But again, your total planned project funds are not going to be anything north of $10 million. On page 2, you can see annual debt service. The annual debt service increase for this bond issue, which goes through 2039, is nothing more than $550,000 per year. So the bonds are structured in that the majority of the newer bonds will come and be placed in the years where the county's debt service drops below the current annual debt service, therefore mitigating the amount of the increase in the early years to something around $550,000 or less. If you go to page 4, you're going to see interest rates. Right now, we're estimating in today's market, and this will change before we price bonds in 45 days. But in today's market, the annual true interest cost is about 4.329% for $10 million for a period of about 14 years. And then on the last page, you can see the aggregate debt service schedule. This is what we call the RAP process. And it says $13 million up there because that is what's being approved for DCED purposes. But again, you're only going to be utilizing $10 million of new project funds. You can see what we talked about on the third page. Each year, you're going to be paying about $550,000 through 2037. And then the bulk of the new money funds are placed in 2038 and 2039, where your debt drops off, your current debt. You can see on the right-hand side, what is required in the state of Pennsylvania is that the county maintain level or declining debt service. You can't have peaks and valleys going on across your debt service schedule. And you can see the annual debt service now is at a very level $7.6 million, which commences in 2026, all the way through the completion of the 2037 year. And then you see the new bonds in 38 and 39 at 5.3 million and 3.8. So in terms of the structuring, based on our review, our work with Jen and Bob and Laura, we feel that this is something that DCED will approve. And with that, I'll ask if there's any questions and turn it over to Laura for any information on the actual ordinance. Yes.
Would it be possible to obtain a copy of that report?
Of what report?
When you just got
The numbers?
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you.
Laura?
I'll just stand over here. I represent Laura Curtin from Edward Siemens, and we've served as the county's bond counsel for decades. I will present this ordinance very, very briefly. This is a very standard ordinance that's required under the Local Government Unit Debt Act. It basically evidences everything that Dave Payne just went over. It provides for the acceptance of the bond purchase proposal from PNC, and an addendum when pricing does occur. Doing this on a maximum parameters basis really gives the county flexibility to decide when to go into the market, when it's most opportune for them, dependent on the interest rates, because as we all know, the market has been pretty volatile over the last few weeks and months. So this document, again, follows the procedures required in the Local Government Unit Debt Act. It pledges the full faith, credit, and taxing power of the county to repay debt service on the bonds. It authorizes a filing with DCED. You file a debt statement, a borrowing base certificate, this ordinance, copies of legal notices. The first legal notice was published in the newspaper on May 2nd. And then you file that with DCED. DCED has a 20-day period for approval. And then this document also authorizes all the closing documents to be prepared, reviewed by the solicitor, and executed. So this is the only formal action that the county needs to take to approve this under state law. Happy to take any questions.
The county has always been aggressive on paying down debt. When we, as you can see, we're 3-4 years already into paying down the debt that we took for the $70 million for the courthouse expansion. We usually do it on a 13-year cycle. You are allowed under law to take that debt to the life expectancy of the building. So if we built that building for a 20 to 25 year life cycle, so we would be able to put that debt out for 25 years, thus lowering it, but you'd still be paying more over the long term. So the county is, in recent memory, has always taken to try to condense the payments so that we are able to pay that debt down faster and save the county money. And we have used PNC for every bond issuance that I've been here for. And Laura's firm, we got Laura when she first started, and she had a wonderful teacher, Joe, who has taught her very well. So we are extremely happy with the both the counsel that we get and the services that we get from PNC. Are there any other questions? Seeing none, I'd like to thank everybody for coming to community night last night. It's only 464 more days until our next community night. And I will, as soon as we set the date. Yeah. And I also want to take just a brief moment to recognize the passing of Tara Sione from our, I'll get a little choked up now, from our Children and Youth Department. Tara had an incident on Friday that she was out with friends and unfortunately had a medical episode, and we lost her. And her smile will be forever remembered.
She's a young lady too.
She was in the late 40s.
Yeah.
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 She leaves a daughter, Madison, and a son, Jamo, or Jameson, behind. And she has a large family here that will be looking out for them.
Sione's in school.
Any public comment,
I have a question.
please?
Did we get any notices of federal cuts to any of our programs that you supervise?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, could you talk a little bit about?
Well, RSVP did not, was not renewed for their grant, okay? But one of the big things that we're experiencing right now is in Carbon Monroe Pike Drug and Alcohol. The state was using money that was left over from the American Rescue Plan, and the federal government took that money back. So we have gone back 10 years on how we provide services for people that need to get into rehab. Before we have the LEDI program that we started, which was the law enforcement program where you could surrender to any law enforcement people. We have a case manager, Stan, and a detective that go out to every reported overdose that happens. And in Monroe County, in the past 4 months, we've had 84 reported overdoses. Of course, the population, highly populated areas have the most. but I was reviewing the numbers, like in the borough of Stroudsburg, there might be 10, East Stroudsburg, there were 11, even Smithfield Township had 8. So unfortunately, if you do not have medical assistance, before we were able to send you to rehab, but now even getting into the medical assistance program is a little tougher. So that has really put us back. When I first started as a commissioner, we could only get people 14 days of rehab. So the game that we would play is that we would put you into rehab on the 15th of May so that you would get 14 days in May and then 14 days in June. So our drug and alcohol, we are scrambling with them to make sure that they are provided with. There are certain appropriations that we have applied for that Kwanzaa is working diligently to get through. Some have been told that they're going to be nixed, others is that we're going to get the funding. So we all have to see what happens. But that's how it's hit the county right here. Is there anything else that?
Aging offices, keeping an eye on things, because
Correct.
they'll know more in the next couple of weeks. And as Commissioner said, a couple of the grants that we did put in for the sewage treatment plant for the Levitt Branch Dam last year, they were zeroed out. So, and we,
Reapplied for
we had
that.
to reapply this year. And then there was the other grant from
The district attorney.
that was, we were notified that $2 million grant was stopped, and we reapplied for that. And that was supposed to be effective this September, but that's gone.
We'll see what happens. So fingers crossed. Anything else?
Yes, one.
Go ahead, Lisa.
17th, the National Council of Negro Women is having an event on mental health and suicide at Middle Smithfield Cultural Center,
Mhm.
11 a.m. until 1 p.m. And DA Mancuso and another doctor will be doing some of the presentations.
I was on a brown bag lunch thing for commissioners yesterday with regard to mental health awareness and breaking down the stigma. And that is probably the number one thing that people that can do to realize that there is a lot of people suffer from mental health problems. Cindy checks me every morning to make sure I'm okay. So it's that, we all suffer or probably know somebody that is suffering from, some kind of issues, and we just want to be aware and be helpful and make sure that we can try to get information to those that need it. Anything else, Teresa?
The opioid settlement funds.
Yes.
So how do you differentiate, like, if you're talking about funding that goes towards what you were just talking about with
Can only be,
drug addiction?
it can only be for opioid uses. Okay.
So you have to prove that it was.
It has to be, you have to show that opioids were your drug of choice. And unfortunately, we are in a methamphetamine society right now. So meth is the number one problem that we have out there.
Alcohol.
And alcohol. During COVID, Monroe County led the state in alcohol sales, followed closely behind by Carbon County. So it is people turned to alcohol during COVID, and we are being besieged with the problems of that. Anything else? Not, can I hear a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
We are, thank you.
I think there's signatures.
I'm not signing.